music.
Yeah, I'm down. Like the Nature Boy, like Ric
Oh,
Flair.
like Rocky or something, you know?
Yeah,
Dun,
but
dun,
you're
dun,
not a
dun.
boxer. You're too tall.
What?
You're
I'm
not a
too
boxer.
tall?
Are
What
we
am I
live?
too tall? We're
Hey, we're
live.
live, by the way. All right, guys. Hey, welcome to our brewery. We call it Brew and Real Estate. It's our Sacramento market update that we do monthly. My name is Brandon Leon, Better Homes and Gardens, your realtor in the Sacramento and Placer County area, and I am joined by
Keith Collins, Movement Mortgage.
and we've been working together
Lender
for
for life.
years.
How
11
much?
years.
11 years. We've
Yeah.
crested a decade.
Yeah, and so what we're going to do, we like to have a little bit of fun, but we also want to share some useful knowledge with you on what's going on in the real estate market right now as of October 2021, and kind of what we're kind of looking at what the trends are and what's coming up, just to give you guys an idea in case you are planning on buying, selling, or refinancing in the next year. So we're here as a resource for you. So we'll give you some good information. So first things first, thank you for joining us. If you're here, and just say hi, just give us a little wave, a thumbs down if you don't like us, a thumbs up if you like us. But give us a comment, say hi. We'd love to hear from you. As always, if you have any questions throughout this time together, feel free to ask and we'll answer everything to the best of our abilities. Let's jump right into it. So Keith, what are you drinking today?
It's just my go-to, man.
You can't drink what you drank last time.
I can't?
No, next time. Next
Can
time.
I just get a
You gotta
glass
drink
and drink
something
some
different.
Pepsis?
Yeah. I mean, you should have opened it already. He's drinking a Stella. We're just having a drink and having a real estate conversation, keeping it real here.
What are you drinking?
I am drinking. This is called Nulu Rye. It's 112 proof.
Okay.
It's got a little stank on it. This is from my friend Rocco from Rocco Wine and Spirits here. This is a rye that's non-chill filtered. It's barrel proof, really strong, and it's only aged for about 5 years, but it's pretty good stuff. So cheers, big ears.
Cheers, big ears. You're still rocking that, man. I love it.
There's a story behind that. There's a reason why I have to say that.
Not today.
Neither here nor there. Not today.
Not today.
So what we do is we do an introduction. We give some people some time to get on, and then we have to have a quick drink, and then we do a dad joke. So the goal is to tell a joke and get the other person to laugh. And Keith laughs every time, and he laughs. He's like, "Oh, so stupid."
I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker for a good dad joke.
All right, you want to go first, Keith?
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta get it right. Why do fathers take an extra pair of socks golfing?
Why?
In case they get a hole in one.
That was a good one.
That was a good one, right?
That was a good one.
You didn't laugh because you're trying not to laugh. Like you're really trying not to laugh. You should allow yourself to have a little more fun in life, Brandon.
I'm trying to have more fun. I'm practicing my inner actor.
You got to practice.
Okay. Hey, all right, ready?
Yeah.
Okay. What did the plumber say to Adele?
What did the plumber, like Adele the singer, what did plumber say to Adele?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Hey, nice pipes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you're laughing at your own joke. I feel like I won on that one. Let's rock and roll,
man. That's a good one. All right, moving on. We have a section every single time we get together where we do a home of the week. And we just listed a house today in West Roseville, 2041 Lanesboro Street in Roseville. It's actually only a year old.
Look at that kitchen.
It's a brand new Lennar home. They actually did the front yard, the backyard. It has real grass, people, not artificial, not a low tolerance or a drought resistant, as they say, front yard. They got some concrete in the back. So this is just a stellar move-in ready home in West Roseville, right down the street from all the brand new schools. They're building a regional park out there. If you know of anybody that's looking on moving, maybe from the Bay Area to here, it's the perfect place to start. It's a 4-bedroom, 3 full baths. There's a bedroom and bathroom downstairs, listed at $690. So that is our deal of the week, I should say. So if you have any questions about this house or would like a private tour, we can also send you a real 360 home tour so you can get a good view of it, or want to share it with someone. Comment on this or reach out to us personally, and we'll be able to hook you up. There you go. Boom.
That's a cool house, man. I like that kitchen.
It is. Yeah, it's nice. It's a good layout. Nice open concept. All right, so let's go straight to the market update. This is what a lot of people want to hear. What's going on in the market? A lot
Mark
of
it up. Mark it up.
Questions. Mark it up.
Mark it up.
So we're going to look first at the Sacramento region. So as we look at the Sacramento region, there's so much going around of what people are saying.
Oh, yeah.
And Derek, can you pull up that graph?
Yeah, which one?
Sacramento region. For the no.
Okay.
The other one. The other
Sacramento region.
There it is. All right, cool. So as we're looking at the Sacramento region, we have I think the most important thing to see is sales. Like when you look at the number of sales, they've actually gone down. And from 2,581 to 2,466, and the monthly supply has gone up 7.9%. And that could be due to the fact that maybe some houses are falling out of escrow. We actually had a few more houses hit the market. As our supply grows, I'm seeing, let me just say what this is. I'm seeing a lot of houses fall out of escrow, actually. There are some new houses coming to the market, but I'm seeing some buyers that are maybe getting ahead of themselves and submitting offers and then deciding to either keep looking or backing out. So I'm seeing a shift in the market from that perspective. And that's Sacramento kind of as a region. And then if we go to just Placer County, so if we go to the Placer County region graph, we'll be able to look at what's happening right now in the market in Placer County. So if we're looking at the same stats, sales have gone down 11%. There's a few less houses, not as many houses, but 608.
Prices are up.
50, right? Yep, prices are up.
That's crazy.
And the supply has gone up 24.4% in Placer County, and we're talking about Rockland, Roseville, Lincoln, Loomis. It's unbelievable to see the price go up, and so that just goes to show that we are still in a competitive market. Even though the months supply have gone up, we also have fall that's kind of just started and the holiday season. And so we're seeing a little bit of a cyclical slowdown, which is normal. However, prices are still going up because the houses that people are buying, they're willing to pay more for.
I mean, it's interesting this thing to say the housing supply is up 24%, but when you actually look at it, it's 0.8 months to 1 month, which means basically still, if no new homes come in the market, we run out of homes in a month.
Yeah, and we're still in a heavy seller's market. So
yeah, 3 months. 3 months is about 3 months is a balanced market. Anything less than 3 months is a seller's market.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're going to be talking about lots of good stuff today, guys. So we're going to be talking about are we in a normal market? The secret to winning against multiple offers. Is it time, like if you're looking at a house right now, is it time to give up? Is it time to give up on buying a house in 2021, 2022? So we have some really cool things, including a new conforming loan limit potentially hitting a house near you. But as we look at these, I like to look at these stats just to really see what's going on, because there's a difference of what's going on regionally versus what's going on in our county, and then also just what I'm seeing within my clients and us as in buying and selling homes. So I think that's just interesting to note. Now,
I feel like that's a really good point to make, though, because you watch the news and the news might be talking about the greater Sacramento region, but you're talking about selling a home in Rockland, California.
Right.
Like, you got to get hyper specific, because what's happened in Sacramento is way different than what's happened in Rockland. And like, you could be Rockland across from a school, you could be Rockland next to a golf course. Like there's differences there, and so you've got to get super specific all the way down to like your community. To really figure out how quickly it's going to move, what it's going to sell for. And what those correct expectations should be.
Yeah, there's so many factors to consider.
Yep.
Absolutely. Cool. So now what we'd like to talk about is we're going into kind of a normal market. Like, are we in a normal market? Well, in looking at a normal market, we were I mean, COVID came in the beginning of 2020, right? So it's hard to go back a year and use those stats. So Ryan Lundquist does a great job, Sacramento Appraisal blog. He comes up with some amazing stats. And basically, he looked at September of 2019 to September of 2021. And there's some things to consider here. I think the two things you really want to look at, the number one thing you want to look at is when, let's see. So when we're looking at the number of sales has gone up 14%, but we're looking at the monthly months of supply, which has gone down 54%. But what I think is the most interesting stat of all of this, the average paid compared to the original list price, basically how much a buyer was willing to pay over the list price. 2 years ago, it was $13,808, so almost $14,000, right? That they would pay under the original list price, which means the prices were reduced. Now, people are paying $6,000 over on average, which like completely blows my mind. Now, also, if you look at the price reductions, that's kind of the other stat we want to look at. And the price reductions, there was 40% of the market reducing their price 2 years ago. And now the price reductions are down to 28%. And I find that interesting because if you think about it, in 2019, buyers paid, almost 14,000 under. Now they're paying 6,000 over. And we're having more multiple offers, and houses are selling in about half the time, like when you look at the stats, which I think is pretty amazing for us to have that kind of shift in just a short 2-year period.
Massive. I mean, the months of supply is ridiculous. It's 54% drop over a significant period of time.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah. And I mean, is that a normal market? Is it, a stable market? There's so many ways to look at that. What I see is there's opportunity. We're still in a competitive market. As we know, new homes are taking forever to build right now, which we might cover on a little bit today. But I don't necessarily know. Normal's kind of like
I'd rather say balance. Like, what's a balanced market, right?
It's moving more towards a balanced market. But that begs the question with how competitive it is. And if you've been looking for houses anytime in the past couple of years, you know how difficult it's been. And so, Keith, for the people that are currently looking at houses or thinking about buying a house, but maybe, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't buy a house in the next year. Maybe the prices are too high. Like, is it time to give up on that dream? Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a really interesting question, going in, and I've had a lot of conversations recently with new home buyers that are, kind of experiencing what we're calling buyer fatigue, right? They've been kind of beat up, and they've written multiple offers, haven't gotten a home, spent a bunch of their time away from their family, looking for properties, and they're getting tired. And they're like saying, hey, I think I'm going to sign a 12-month lease and really just kind of give up on buying a home. And so I wanted to dive into that. Like, okay, that's a real thing. Like, I feel for you. It's hard to find a home right now, for sure, especially the right one. But should we give up? And what it made me ask is a couple of questions. One, what's affordable? Like, is this market affordable? And then really, what runway does this market have, right? So if someone were to give up now, are they going to regret it later? Right, was kind of that big question. I don't know if you saw that, Derek. Did you get those images I just texted you? Dude, it'd be hilarious to put those up right now if you could. But in terms of just kind of like the idea of regret. But what I went to is I wanted to start with a few things. One, I want to look at like the American consumer, like how healthy is overall nationally the American consumer. And I found a couple of things. The personal savings rate for the American consumer is at the highest level it's been since 1960. So our personal savings overall is the highest it's been since 1960. Then I took a look at what they called basically income to expenses, which in mortgage we call debt to income ratio, which is one of the biggest factors associated with buying a home. And that's the lowest it's been since they recorded this number in 1980. So personal savings is the highest it's been. Personal expenditure to disposable income is the lowest it's been since this is recorded. And then I found a really cool stat to show that private sector wages are actually up $10 an hour from 2006. So, overall, like I feel like the American consumer is healthy. And where I'm going with this is like, does this market have runway? And I feel like runway is associated with affordability. Like, do people feel like these homes are affordable? Now, maybe the individual person is looking at this home and saying, gosh, it's gone up in value and it's not as affordable as it used to be. But I think we also have to look at that from a relative standpoint to previous markets to identify, like, because people are saying, well, I think the market's going to drop or the market's going to crash because the market's not affordable.
Right.
And so I know I'm digging deep. Oh, this is it right here. I think this is great. Dave Ramsey, and I'm not picking on Dave Ramsey. Maybe I will a little bit here, but he says that you need to save 20% for a down payment. And it says when you've been saving for 6 years for the 20% down payment, and then the next slide.
We gotta get to
Give me here. Come on, Derek. Is it coming?
It's coming.
And now that house is selling for $710 that was $270.
There you go.
So the individual is waiting to save money for a 6 years period of time to put 20% down, but then they're going to go buy the home and it's triple the price. And so that's the question here is like, do we pause because we think the market's going to crash? But like, does this market itself have runway? And so what I wanted to dive into, and I know I'm getting lost in numbers here, but I think this is really interesting, is the affordability is typically mortgage payment, right? Like when I'm talking to a customer and they're talking about, is this house affordable? They're not talking about the house price being affordable. They're talking about the mortgage payment associated with that house.
Sure.
Interest rates today are at 3%. In 2006, interest rates were 6%. Okay. So 2006 interest rate 6%. Today they're 3%. In 2006, the average home price in America was $305,000. Today it's $434,000. So that is a $134,000 increase. So that's definitely more expensive, but is it affordable? And if you take a mortgage payment in 2006 at a 305 price and a mortgage payment today at 434 with a 3% rate, that mortgage payment is only 6 cents more per month. At a 305 price with 20% down, it's $14.62.90. Today it's $14.62.96.
Wow.
So from an affordability standpoint, if we really look at that relative to interest rates that we have today, that home payment is the same that it is. So when we look at like, are homes affordable? I feel like homes are affordable relative to the mortgage payment. And then related to runway, it's supply and demand. And if you can put that other one up from MSNBC, I believe, this is the thing that I think allows this market to have a ton of runway, is that they recently came out and said that America is short 5 million homes. America is short more than 5 million homes, and builders can't make up the difference. The article points out a couple of things. We literally need 5 million more homes just to meet demand today. Yeah. And then further on the article, they indicate that single family home construction, it's actually right there, is at the slowest pace since 1995. So we're building homes extremely slow relative to supply and infrastructure, and we need 5 million homes. So if there is demand for that home, we can't make up that demand with building. Home prices can't come down.
Yeah.
Right. The only way that they can come down is if we have an oversupply of things. So, we talk about the market trying to get balanced and the market trying to find some seasonality to it. I feel like the market in the Sacramento region is trying to do that. And we've seen that in certain areas in the Sacramento region, seeing a little bit of seasonal price depreciation. So if you're a home buyer right now, and you're thinking about throwing in the towel, I'm concerned that in the spring of next year, the home is going to be more in terms of price, because demand's not slowing down and we're not going to make up the lack of supply with housing. And then relative to the actual affordability of that home, like that mortgage payment is really the same. So I wonder if you stay the course going into this winter, are there going to be more opportunities with this uptick in availability of homes that you just pointed out, Brandon?
Yeah, that's great stuff. I mean, if you follow that at all, what he's saying is don't give up. He went off on some numbers. He's saying don't give up.
I'm sorry.
It's a great I think it's actually really, really helpful. And all the engineers are over here like, that's the best thing I've heard today. And I'm not mad at you. I think that's great. I think that as we're looking forward, it's, hey, don't give up, stay the course. We believe in home ownership. It's not slowing down. There's still room to grow, for the market to grow. So I think that's great, man. Thank you for sharing that. And should you have any questions about how the situation works for you, if it's a good time for you, Keith and I separately do planning appointments, and we'd be happy to ask you a few thought-provoking questions and listen visually to your answers and see if it's the right time for you to buy. Next, I want to cover the secret to winning against multiple offers. So in this real estate market, if you are out looking at houses or you've heard stories, right? I want to debunk some of those stories, but then I also want to say, hey, focus on this. When you're looking at writing offers on houses, if you've been out there and looked at written several offers, not gotten accepted, I mean, there's simple things you can do, like make sure that you shorten your contingency timeframes and have a shorter escrow period and all those things. Like, you've heard that. But what I'm seeing a shift in the market happening is that sellers are wanting a sure thing. Like, they're wanting to know that if a buyer commits, they're going to stick around, because there are a lot of buyers that aren't, that they offer a great price, they do short contingency, they do all that, and then they end up canceling for whatever reason. Lots of reasons for that. But my point is, the seller wants a buyer that's committed. So I was currently in a situation where I wrote an offer for a client. It was $30,000 above the list price. The house did not have a pool or any of these crazy upgrades, right? It wasn't even in the most desirable neighborhood, but we wrote an offer $30,000 over. At the time, we were the highest offer, according to the agent. And what I found out later is we didn't get that house, and there were two offers higher than us, and they didn't even take the highest offer. They actually took an offer that was lower, higher than ours, but lower than the highest offer. And my point is, the reason why they got the offer is because they actually removed the full contingency removal up front. They said, we already got our loan underwritten already. We already are cool with the way the house is, with the inspections and everything else. We're fine with the condition of the home. And also, the appraisal, we're not really worried about. We have some cash to make up the difference. And so it just brings up the point that I really do believe we're going into a market where terms matter. The old way was, it was all price, like kind of the old way, the sellers, it's like, I just got to get the highest price. And now there's a combination of having that highest price, which is kind of like a buy-in. You already expect that, but having the best terms. And so if they're able to write, let's say, a 12-day escrow or a 15-day escrow period, and they're able to remove all contingencies and actually submit a higher deposit than normal, that's taking a risk, of course, because if it doesn't work out, that deposit could be at risk. I've never worked with any client in history and had them lose a deposit. But my point is, they were able to get the house because they had their loan underwritten up front, which put them in a better position to be more competitive on terms. Keith, what do you have to add to that as far as maybe some of the benefits of underwriting the loan beforehand?
Well, I think one of the big things is, it's buying a home can be a very emotional process, right? You get really excited, you get into contract on that home, you spend money on inspections, home inspection, pest inspection. So you're financially committed, and you start measuring the house, buying furniture potentially, which you shouldn't do till you're in the house, but you start going through all this stuff, get excited, start seeing your family in there. And then 5 days before the close of escrow, a lender potentially calls you and says, sorry, you're not qualified when we thought you were. That doesn't happen with us, and that doesn't happen with what should be good lenders, but that does happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another reason, outside of just writing a super strong offer, it's the confidence of going in when, you're a family and your bags are packed and you don't have a computer, and because the computer's packed, and you got your kids all put together, and you're thinking about transferring schools, and then the lender calls you a couple days before the close of escrow and you're scrambling to get information. I think, if anything at all, you avoid those issues. So yes, get the file up front underwritten for that reason, but then also to be able to write those types of offers so that, look, the highest offer didn't get the house. The best offer got the house.
Yep.
And the best offer is not always the highest offer. It's the one that's the best for the seller.
Right. And so go into just a real quick brief overview of what fully underwriting the file means.
This one wants to come in and say hi really quickly. She has to say hi, and then she's going to go. Say hi, Harlow.
There she
Okay,
is.
can you go out and talk to mommy, please? Yes.
Do you want salad?
I do want salad. Thank you, honey.
Yeah, love salad.
Sorry. Were we asking a question? I apologize.
Go briefly onto what underwriting the file up front, what that actually means compared to just a normal process.
Yeah. So, a lot of times it's just the lender's best guess. I mean, I've had borrowers that, they told me they got pre-approved by another lender and, they're self-employed. And I said, did you provide tax returns? Well, if you're self-employed, we got to take a look at tax returns. They said no. And I'm like, well, then how does the lender even know what you qualify for? So there's a couple of steps, right? There's the first step is loan officer like me, my best guess. Now, hopefully based on experience, my best guess is good, but it's my best guess. That next step might be pulling credit, running some automated approvals. And then the final step is actually submitting the loan to the individual that gets to make the decision on behalf of the lender, which is, do you qualify for the home loan or not? And some lenders don't like to do that because there is an expense. Underwriters are a high paid position. And if we're underwriting somebody up front, we don't know if they're actually going to go into contract, right? So there's this expense that we're paying as a lender up front. We don't know if we're going to get back. So a lot of lenders don't like to do that. They don't like to make that initial investment up front. And that's why you're like, well, why wouldn't everybody just underwrite up front? And that's why they don't. But getting that all out of the way allows you to be extremely confident when you're writing the offer. But then also potentially remove some of those hiccups that a seller is looking at. But really that's what it is, right? Pulling credit would be one, providing financial information would be another. The lender saying, hey, we ran the DU approval is kind of a term or a vernacular that we use. And then that final step is actually submitting it to underwriting, which a lot of lenders do not do until you're in contract in the house.
Yeah. And these are for people that are serious. These are for people that are ready to buy a home or 100% committed, not for people that are just curious, right? But
if you're out writing offers and you want to be in a home in 30 to 45 days, you should be upfront underwritten.
Yeah, absolutely. So good. So if you're in a position where you want to take advantage of that, you can reach out to Keith. He'll be able to help you do that. All right, we're going to wrap up here pretty soon. I have one bonus tip for you when you're in multiple offer situations. The one key takeaway, and what I say to all my clients when we're out there writing offers is, look, there's the old market and the old way of doing things and a new way of doing things. And the new way, you have to take risks. Like if you want to own a home, you have to be willing to take more risks than you've taken in the past or than you're comfortable with. And we're going to try to find ways to mitigate that risk. We don't want you to take, super high risk putting you in a bad situation, but you're going to have to take some more risks to get the house you want, to really fight for the house you want. So just be willing to do that. Just understand that that's part of the game. So lastly, Keith, there's a new conforming loan limit coming out, or supposedly. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah. So every year, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac basically takes the median home price for area and they adjust the amount of loan that you can get before you enter into what's considered a jumbo loan category. And the jumbo loan is just potentially different terms and different types of underwriting. Not as bad as it used to be. It's actually gotten a lot easier, but Fannie Mae does this. Now they haven't come out yet, but a few lenders, including ourselves, have come out and said, hey, we're going to increase that loan amount right now that we're going to lend to until Fannie Mae comes out, and we're up to 622 in the Tri-County area, Placer County, Sacramento County, El Dorado County. So 622,000 is the new loan limit. It used to be 598. So it's not a massive increase, but it is a little bit of an increase to be able to get you into potentially a higher price home without going into a jump loan.
It's an extra $24,000.
That's good math there. I like that. Well done.
Every once in a while I can do it. Hey, well, great. That wraps up our show for today. Hey, if you are looking to buy or sell or refinance anywhere in the Sacramento area, we would love to help. We have lots of value to offer you, like the underwriting up front. I offer a room by room review to all sellers to help them get their house ready to sell for top dollar. So whatever the question you have or whatever is needed, Keith and I are here to help. We appreciate your support. Feel free to leave a comment, ask a question. We'll get it all answered. You guys have an amazing October. Enjoy Halloween, and we'll see you soon.
Take care, y'all.